Live responsibly. Take responsibility for everything going on. That's the L. I. Inspire yourself. Stop complaining, worrying, and criticizing. Go from warrior to warrior. Feel gratitude. Look for things to be that are positive in your life and expand on them. Change complaining to appreciating. And then embrace that new beliefs that you're working on are working. And be aware of the results that start to show up. Which means if something little happens, don't say, oh, that's a coincidence. No, that's the magic. That's the ether in the world telling you you're on the right track.
Yeah, and when you focus on those good little nuggets, those little sparkles of sunshine, they grow. You see more of them.
That's right.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, oh, oh. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm Karaleigh Garrison, a singer-songwriter, motivational speaker, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life. I created this podcast because I believe really deeply that we can learn from one another's stories and experiences. I'm willing to bet that just about all of us have been through some really, really tough things. And not only is it therapeutic for us to be able to talk about these darkest times in our lives, but the lessons that we've learned and the resilience we've shown can help everyone around us weather their own storms from higher ground. On the Seeking Sunshine podcast, we don't shy away from difficulty and trauma, but we always look for the sunshine in it. It's my personal belief that there are blessings in every trial and trials in every blessing. I use this Seeking Sunshine mantra every single day to change my perspective when things start going wrong and getting frustrating, which they often do because I have 3 kids with special needs. And I can tell you that it has transformed my life. And I hope, and that's the whole point of this podcast, that it can transform your life too. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. I hope you're having such an amazing summer and enjoying the sunshine and having so much fun swimming and hiking and doing all the amazing things that this time of year has to offer. If you are doing something awesome, will you please tell me about it? I want to hear from you guys. Write it. You can write a review. You can tell me what's going on. You can send me an email. Tell me what's going on. I want to hear from you guys, and then I can share about it on the podcast. I'd love to start sharing some blurbs from the listeners on the Seeking Sunshine podcast. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. So please send me an email. Tell me how your summer's going. Tell me what you have going on. There's all sorts of stuff going on at my house. We do lots of swimming. We do lots of hiking. We've had some different summer camps going on over here. My youngest got to go to coding camp last week, so he had a lot of fun at that. So yeah, tell me what's going on with you guys. I'd love to hear from you. So today we have a really, really amazing episode from such a cool guest. His name is Martin Salama, and he is known as the architect of the Warriors L.I.F.E code. He is so cool, guys. This episode is amazing, and you are going to learn so much. So Martin specializes in helping people who are frustrated in their life quickly shift their mindset to uncover their greatness so they can live their true potential and enjoy life. The key to his success is that he's mastered the ability to live incredibly full every day, which he turned into the acronym L.I.F E, and he created the Warriors L.I.F E code coaching program. So I don't want to spoil anything. I want to let you tell him I want to let him tell you his whole story because he's overcome so much and he's used everything he's been through and all the self-discovery, this whole path he's been on, he's used it to help people, and it's really such an inspirational story. So I'm going to let him tell it. So welcome, Martin. Hi, Martin. Thank you so much for coming on to the Seeking Sunshine podcast today.
Well, thank you so much, Karaleigh. I'm excited to be here with you.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear your story and find out all of the incredible things that you have been through and done in your life. So let's dive in. I want to hear from you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, I think it's probably best off if I start off when I was 10 years old, because I had something happen to me at 10 years old that set me on a path for the next 40 years that I didn't realize it had done. So it's important for me to just talk about that for a minute and explain how it set me on that path and how it took me 40 years to figure out that that's what it was doing. So when I was 10 years old, I had a tragedy in my life that really shook my whole family. I have four older sisters, and I had a younger brother. His name was Michael, who was 5 years younger than me. And one day, almost 50 years ago, literally almost 50 years ago, he was killed by a school bus.
Oh my
And
goodness, by a school bus?
yeah, he was coming off the school bus, walked in front of the bus. This was before they had the gates and the stuff like that. Dropped something, it seems. Went to pick it up. The bus driver looked over, didn't see anything, and drove. And unfortunately, 4 days later, he passed from the injuries. And my you can just imagine how distraught, how devastated the whole family was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and for me, uh, 10 years old, I looked at that moment and I told myself a story that it's my job now as the only boy to carry on the legacy, to carry on the name, to, you know, take the mantle, as it were.
All those stories. Those
Yeah.
stories we tell ourselves.
Right, exactly. So at that moment, I said, okay, I have to make sure that my parents never feel sadness, which is what you would think a 10-year-old would say at that time.
Oh no, and what a burden and what a impossible task to put on yourself.
Right. And looking back now at that moment, which I've said a few times now, but that's when I could look back and say that's when my people pleaser mode went into effect. Okay. And what came out of me being a people pleaser? This is me. This is my story of how I was as a people pleaser. I took things personally. I was a control freak and I had a very short temper. And if you think about it, it makes sense. As a people pleaser, you want to make sure that everything's going exactly as you think it should go. And when it doesn't, you take it personally because you think people are attacking you when they may be saying, this isn't right, not you're not right. And as a result, I would have a very short temper because when things weren't going my way, it means I couldn't please the people around me that I was trying to please. And one of the other things a people pleaser is they're always looking for recognition. They want people to say, Martin, you're the best. Wow, fantastic. You're the guy. Right. And
I relate to that one a lot. That one I feel that one.
Right. And that was me for the next 40 years. I got married. I was trying to please my parents. I was trying to please my wife. I was always trying to please everybody else. I was involved in community events and I had to be one of the leaders, not only because I was the leader, because that's what it was, but the leader was the one that got the pats on the back. The leader was the one that they said, you did it. You put this thing together. You're the best. As a matter of fact, in my 30s, I was the founder of a synagogue in Eatontown, New Jersey, the first synagogue there. And it was for years, it was known because there were a bunch of synagogues. You know, we all Orthodox Jews, we walk to synagogue. We don't drive.
You
So
gotta
it was
have one
known.
close by.
If they're too far, you don't drive. You have to walk. So it was known for a long time as the Martin Salama shul because, oh, Martin's the one that built that. And actually, the name of the synagogue is my father gave us the money about a year or so into it. And we never talked about my brother, but I went to him. I said, Dad, we're ready to start building this place. We need to start doing things. He said, okay, if you name it after your brother, Michael, I'll give you $50,000 towards the building of it. So till this day, it's called Sharei Tefillah B'nai Moshe, which stands for the gates of prayer with the children of Moshe. Michael is his name, but his Hebrew name was Moshe, which is Moses. So
That's really beautiful.
yeah, but again, this was all me doing the people pleaser stuff. And right now, I'm not involved in the synagogue, and I'm very happy for them. They have over 400 families there. They're expanding, and it's all because of the work I did. But at the time, as much as I felt I was doing it for the right reasons, and I did, a part of why I was doing it was because I wanted the recognition and I wanted to please the people around me. So imagine that's where I was for the next almost 40 years.
Well, and
Now
the
comes,
truth is, it's like we can actually do good things in our
yeah,
lives even before we've, fully healed and fixed our motivations to be the right way. Like you can actually do like a lot of good. It just is so much more satisfying and fulfilling in your life to do those things from the right place.
exactly. Now, I was very happy with those things I did, and I'm very proud of it. My children are very proud of the fact that that's there and it's a legacy and stuff like that. And I did it for the right reasons, like I said. But there was always something pulling me inside to doing it for the other reasons as well. And now I'm on a path of everything I do is just for good. I don't care about me in that way, and that recognition needing way. Okay. But so now let's fast forward. This is me for the next 40, almost 40 years. And in 2008, uh, my wife and I were working on a project for 5 years to build a multi-million-dollar tennis center and health club in New Jersey. And that came about because I just closed a business and my wife said, okay, you got to find something to do. And I'm not having an easy time finding the places to find to play tennis. She had just gotten into tennis and all the courts were taken. So I was like, okay, that's what she wants to do. Deep down inside, I didn't say this verbally. I didn't even say it on a conscious level. I said, well, that's what she wants. I'm going to please her because we were in a codependent relationship. And that took me years to figure out that that's what it was. So we did that. And it took us 5 years of going through the process of deciding what we wanted to do, finding the place, getting a feasibility study, doing the work to get the engineering, the architecture, and all that, and then getting all the approvals from the city and the state and everything.
Yeah, it's not an easy process.
No, it's not. And by the time we got to the point that we were getting approved, I'd put in over $3 million of my money and other people's money for this $15 million project. So that as soon as the city and state said, yes, go to the bank and get the money to build. If it happened in 2006, 2007, the subprime loan world was such that they would have handed me the money.
But 2008 was a little bit different.
A little different. So I go to the bank. I'm like, okay, we're ready. They go, we ain't giving you the money. It's just not going to happen right now. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Well, things are changing out there. Comes to September 2008, which is like a month after this conversation with the banks. And they go, and Bernie Madoff, subprime loans, real estate world collapse. Everything falls apart. Overnight, I was wiped out financially.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's the Seeking Sunshine story you were looking for, but we'll get there.
And that's the thing is like you have to have the darkness in order to see the light.
Right.
You have to have the contrast,
Yeah.
And so I love I guess that's a weird thing to say. I love the dark stories, but like they're so important to be able to see the light because we all go through major life trials and lots of pain and it's a struggle to grow and learn to be better humans.
And to be honest, it wasn't over. Okay. So now.
And it still isn't over because you're still alive. I'm still alive. We still have life. And as long as we've got life, there's still more roller coaster to ride, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But now my roller coasters, because of what I've gone through over the last 10, 12 years, instead of being like the major roller coasters up and down, they're more like this now, more of like waves in the ocean, calmish waves.
You're a lot better equipped to handle
right. Exactly. But it took me about a year after that to pick myself up and put myself and say, what am I going to do next? And, I stopped paying my mortgage. I stopped paying my car payments. And one day my son says, Dad, someone's towing away our car. And it was being repossessed. That's how bad things had gotten. And it took a while because I lived in New Jersey and they were so backed up with all the foreclosures for them to they foreclosed, but for them to finally go and do the rest of it took a few years. But we were living in a house that was foreclosed upon, and that could be taken at any moment. And now it's about a year or so later. I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? I look back and I looked at the times that I was involved in the community events. And I realized that those were my happiest times because as a leader, what I was also doing was I was showing other people the potential they had by just giving a little bit. People say, oh, I can't do what you do. Well, I'm not asking you to do what I do. Do what you could do, and you'll be surprised what you can do. And I realized I was a life coach without being a life coach. So I said, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start studying to be a life coach. And then it was my 24th wedding anniversary. And my wife said, I'm done. I want a divorce.
Oh no.
There's 364 other days of the year. Today's the day she asked for it.
That's
So
heartbreaking.
you can imagine how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was back down there again. But I had a plan in my head to go to life coaching. All right. So I was like, I'm going to do that anyway. And probably a little part of me thought maybe it'll help my marriage, you know. And a lot of the reasons I could look back now and recognize why I didn't want the marriage to get divorced was about my own lack of self-worth, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-love. But it's easy to look back. But in the moment, it was not that easy. So I decided I'm going to go anyway. And before I went, they sent us a list of books to read. They said, read 2 or 3 of these books. And one of the books on the list was The 4 Agreements. Have you read that book? No?
I have
Okay.
not, but I have a running list of like books I need to read, plus like a huge like 60 book stack.
Well, if you ask me, I'll tell you to put it at the top of the list.
I will go put this on my list now.
So just if this is being videoed, it says The 4 Agreement, Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay.
Awesome.
I'll read them quick to you. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Now, each one of them, he goes deeper. But when I read that, don't take anything personally, I was at a low point in my life. And it was as if somebody had just shone a light in a stadium that was completely pitch black. That's how much the light came on. That was the aha moment. I was like, what? I don't have to take things personally. I don't have to carry the world on my shoulders. I was like, it was a secret. Yeah.
It's like it turns out that other people's opinions are not our responsibility. Other people's actions are not our responsibility. They're not really thinking about us. They're really thinking about themselves and all of their reasons.
Exactly. I've come to adopt what you think about me is none of my business. Yeah. So it's so true. It's not my responsibility. But it took a long time for me to recognize that. And going through coach training at the same time I was going through a divorce was divine intervention. It was God telling me, oh, you want to do this? Well, why don't we make sure you're really down in the dumps?
We're gonna make this stick right here. This is gonna really
Hell it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know the saying where God plans and man plans and God laughs.
Right.
So I went to love coaching training. And when I came out, it was about a year later, I had changed a lot. And I decided that a lot of what I'd gone through my divorce, I got through it because of the coach training, emotionally, mentally. So I decided to become a divorce recovery coach. And I did that for a few years and I enjoyed doing it. It was really great. And I looked in the mirror one day and I didn't like who I saw. I was heavier than I ever was in my life by a lot. And I wasn't being coached. I was coaching, but I wasn't being coached. I wasn't reading good things. I'd gotten into a rut because I was in a dead end job and I was blaming the world for where I was, even though I knew better than that. So I looked in the mirror. I said, okay, a friend of mine had been putting on Facebook about being able to work out for 30 minutes a day from home from a video. I said, okay, let me do that. I'll start the day earlier or end it late or whatever and start working out. And with about 9 months, I lost 65 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But also, I didn't just exercise. I ate better. I started reading better books. I started watching better things. I allowed myself to be coached because I kept on saying, I can't afford it. You know what? You can't afford not to. So I started
It's
doing all those
it's
things.
it's amazing what a difference it is when you, well, like, first of all, you started caring for your body, like caring for yourself. So I'm a self-care coach for burnt out moms because I have 3 kids with autism, and so I'm a self-care coach.
I
And
got one.
yeah, it's a life. It's a journey.
Yep.
It's it's fun. But yeah, and so self-care is like absolutely essential. And like
Yep.
as we learn how to do that better, it will absolutely change your
Right.
life.
Right.
And then
Right. Right.
feeding your mind like good things and understanding that you can always learn and grow and do better. Like it's life changing to go through this process.
100%. And one of the things I told myself as I started this process and I started to recognize that I was a people pleaser, I don't think the word that I was a people pleaser came to me until much later, but I recognized that I was doing for others and not for myself. So I said, okay, I'm going to start taking care of myself first, as long as I'm not hurting anybody else. And that's how I started. And it was basically the thing you hear on the airplane all the time: put the mask on yourself before you put it on others.
You're a much but we as people are so much better at being people and helping other people when we first take care of our own needs. Because if we don't, then we become, so I say this too much, but my favorite quote is from Frozen, and it's people make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's in one of the songs in Frozen. um and so it's like when you look at yourself and it's like, am I stressed out? Am I taken care of? Because if I'm not, then I'm probably not acting at my best.
Right, right, right. So here I am. I'm figuring things out. I'm moving forward in my life. And I was doing things that I had never done before. And I'm ADHD. So can you imagine an ADHD guy meditating for even 10 minutes, guided meditation?
Yeah, that my husband really struggles with meditation because of his ADHD.
I'm like, when is this going to be over? Even though the guy on Headspace, his voice is fantastic, very calming. Okay. But one day I had this download of information that I was loving my life and everything I was doing in it. And out of that, I wrote for 2 hours after I finished meditating. And out of that came the acronym for life, which is how I live my life now: live incredibly full every day.
That's an amazing acronym.
Thank you. And I started dating. And as I was going on these dates, I would be interviewing the women, and not in an interviewing way, but about their values, because I understood now that if I understood my values when I was 22, 23, and I thought with the correct head, not the other one, I might not have been married. I don't regret being married, because I have 4 beautiful children, 8 gorgeous, wonderful grandchildren, and we had many, many good years. But we were codependent for many of those years because our values were not lined up correctly. And I had my problems going on in my own head that I didn't take care of. And she had hers on going on in her head. All right. So maybe I wouldn't have gotten married that way, that to that person at that time. But I wasn't going to do those things again. So I'd go on these dates and I would start asking questions in a conversational way. And I'd be like, nope, nope. Okay, this is 1 date, 2 dates. Then one day I started dating a woman and she's checking off every box. I'm like, okay, let's do this again. Boom, 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 checking off every box. I was like, okay, this is the real deal here. So about a month into it, I realized this is really something. And I said, I got to tell you something. And I don't need to hear it from you, but I want you to hear it from me just to see where I am in my life. I'm falling in love with you because I love who you are. And I love that you see me exactly as I am and you're not trying to change me. Two
Awesome.
weeks later, she said the same thing. She said she was in love with me too. 2 years later, we got married, and we've been married for almost 5 years.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. But now something happened in 2020 that kind of shook the world again.
I wonder what that was. What kind of
Hmm.
2020? Let me think.
It was not too much going on in the world. No, but seriously. And then it's March 2020, and the world goes into lockdown mode, right? And it's only going to be 3 weeks. We're going to figure this Corona thing out before Dos Equis comes along, You know?
Yeah. Oh, March 2020.
Right. And then all of a
And
sudden it's May and it's still going on.
mhm.
And I look at my wife and she looks at me and I'm like, why is everybody worried? And we're not.
Guys, I just wanted to pause here for 1 second to let you know about the awesome thing that I'm doing right now. I am so excited to announce that I'm offering a custom song experience for a small number of people. This is your chance to take your story, your podcast, or your business even, and turn it into an incredible, timeless work that will bring back beautiful, loving emotions for decades to come. This is such a perfect gift for your spouse, for a newborn baby, or for a parent, and it's a really great way to embody your business or your podcast's mission. We're going to meet together several times and deep dive into the message and emotion you want to convey to make sure that you're getting something that you absolutely adore. A custom song is an incredible asset for advertising, for lifting team spirit, and for encapsulating family memories. If you are interested in a custom song, please email me at customsongsbykaraleigh@gmail.com.
What's going on with us that we're not worried and they are? And then I realized the last 10, 12 years, 2008, my divorce, the weight, everything had prepared me for anything. I had gone through a metamorphosis that I'm now Martin 2.0, and not the little things are going to freak me out anymore.
That's exactly how I felt when COVID hit. We had a really, really awful year in 2013 and a really awful year in 2018. So then 2020 hit, and I was like, wait, this is it? This is the most horrible thing in the world, is that we have to sit home? That's the worst thing in the world? No one's no one in my family died. Like, we didn't get COVID until like 2 years later. Like, we had been through some really, really awful things. And so as I looked at COVID, I was like, oh darn, we're staying home.
Right. Exactly. And I just got onto Facebook one day. I said, guys, I get it. I understand why you're feeling this way. And I see why you're worried, because that was me. I was worried. But now I want to show you how to go from being a warrior to being a warrior. Yeah. And that's how the Warriors Life Code was created.
That is awesome. And what a great time to step up as, a coach and be like, look, you don't have to live like this. You can totally change your emotions. You can change your mind, and you don't have to live in fear. Let me show you.
Right. And so I realized people were living with this mindset of fear, a mindset of lack. And I said, okay, let's switch your mindset from lack to abundance. Let's shift your mindset from self-conscious to self-aware. Okay. And as a matter of fact,
that's the sunshine. Right
that's
there.
The sunshine.
That's the sunshine. Like, start finding things to be grateful for. The sunshine is gratitude. What is beautiful around you, even when things look really tough? There is always something amazing and beautiful.
That's right. As a matter of fact, what I did with my course is I turned around over the last few months and put this together, and it just came out. I put together a card deck of my course, which is just little snippets of the course. And one of them is self-aware versus self-conscious. Okay. So self-conscious comes from a place of negative energy, guilt, conflict, doubt. Self-conscious is more outward directed. It's being more concerned about what others are thinking of you and how the situation is going to affect you. You probably react to uncomfortable situations instead of respond. Okay, there's more to it, but self-awareness comes from a place of positive energy, acceptance, contentment, self-assuredness. Self-awareness is more inward facing. You have an accurate and realistic understanding of how you are responding to situations and how you feel about things.
I love that. And self-awareness is having that growth mindset of like, oh, if I do something that I didn't like, I can learn to do better. I can change, I can grow, I can improve
Right.
without the I'm a horrible person, I suck, and whatever goes in with the self-consciousness.
Exactly. Those gremlins that are playing with your head, telling you I'm not worth it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that one phrase that seems to hold everybody back, I can't. How about instead of saying I can't, you say, how can I? Or I can. Or how can I make this work for me? It's all how you see it.
We all have so much more power than we want to think that we do. We have so much more control over our choices. A lot of times we say stuff like, "Well, I just didn't have any choice. I just don't have any choice in the matter. I'm just stuck in this decision." It's like, actually, you have a lot of control and a lot of choices that you could make every moment. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be consequences. I mean, you could choose to ignore all of the stop signs and all of the red lights and run all of them. Are there going to be consequences to that? Yes. But you could make that choice. It's not like you don't have any choice in the
Right.
matter.
Right. Exactly. 100%. And that's what my coaching is about. It's about recognizing that you can make the choices for yourself, and take responsibility for them instead of blaming the world for what's going on. Who cares who the president of the United States is? Is it really making a difference in your literally everyday life? No. You just want to find somebody else to blame for your lot in life instead
And
of saying I have a wonderful life.
it's amazing. It's take responsibility for yourself and your actions and stop taking responsibility for other people's actions and other people's opinions.
Exactly right. So another one of my cards is the mood lifter method to stay positive no matter what's going on around you. Live responsibly. Take responsibility for everything going on. That's the L. I. Inspire yourself. Stop complaining, worrying, and criticizing. Go from warrior to warrior. Feel gratitude. Look for things to be that are positive in your life and expand on them. Change complaining to appreciating. And then embrace that new beliefs that you're working on are working, and be aware of the results that start to show up. Which means if something little happens, don't say, oh, that's a coincidence. No, that's the magic. That's the ether in the world telling you you're on the right track.
Yeah, and when you focus on those good little nuggets, those little sparkles of sunshine, they grow.
That's
You see
right.
more of them.
That's right. So yeah, those are some of the things that I love to look at when I'm seeking sunshine, which is how I wake up every morning. I wake up every morning, and the first thing I do is I write 3 things in my gratitude journal I'm thankful for. It could be the smallest thing. Last week I wrote, thank God that my 24-year-old daughter, who has had struggles with the autism, thank God she's high on the spectrum, is starting college. And she's figured most of it out on her own, just with a little guidance from us. That was something I had in my thing. So that's one thing I do. And then I pray. I told you I'm Jewish. I put the tefillin on every day, and all those things, and I pray to God. And there's that moment that's my connection to God, that
And
I'm
it's
feeling
so
most close.
important. It's
Yeah,
so I'm very religious. I'm not Jewish, but I'm very religious. And like we could sit here and praise God all day. I'm all
that's
for it.
right. And then I say my mantra. My mantra is I live incredibly full every day. And that sets me up for the day.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then you spend the rest of your day like looking for how your life is full and looking for things to put on your gratitude list for the next day.
Exactly.
Gratitude lists are so powerful. I did this challenge last fall, this 45-day gratitude challenge. And we started with 10 a day, and then we went to 15 a day for the next week, and then 20, and we ended up at like
Fantastic.
25 a day. And like,
Wow.
and it comes to the point where once you do that every day, you start spending your whole day looking around you for things to put on your list, because you're like, that's a lot of things to come up with at once.
Right.
And so now it becomes a mindset. And you
Yeah.
look around like, what else can I put on my list that I haven't talked about before? Oh, look at
Right.
that. Look at that leaf. It's so beautiful. I'm so grateful for that one leaf, and we just find things.
Yeah.
And the more that we look for positive things, the easier it is to see more positivity in our lives.
Exactly right. The world is as you see it. And one of the things that I set out every day, it's on my quota of things to do, is to make someone laugh every day. And when they laugh, I turn to them, I go, thank you. You just filled my quota. What do you think
Okay, I
about
was
it?
gonna say I'm laughing here. That's awesome. I love that.
It could be anybody. It could be the cashier in the supermarket.
That's awesome. And that's such a beautiful way to spread sunshine. Laughter is so healing and uplifting and joyous. And we absolutely need more of it in our lives.
That's right.
That's a really amazing one to look at. So tell us how we can find you, how we can get in touch with you and find your card deck and all the things and your
So
course.
I made this website. It's called connectwithmartin.com. Right? You go there, you'll see my beautiful mug at the top of the picture of the thing there. And then
It
there'll
is
be links.
beautiful. It is
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you. And then there'll be links in there to buy my card deck, buy my book that's about to come out. By the time this video is out, it might be out. The
Yeah, it
podcast.
will probably be out. I have
Okay, cool.
oh yeah, it's gonna be like late fall because
No problem. So then it'll be out. Also, there's links to free things. So imagine you want to figure out how to get an abundant warrior mindset. Okay. How about if I give you 7 steps to that for free?
that's amazing.
How about if I do it in a coloring book?
That's a new one. I have never seen that, and that's incredible. That's a fantastic like way to help people really internalize that message.
Right. So about a year ago, I was asked to be a speaker on a summit for parents. So I said, okay, 7 tips you must teach your children about having an abundant warrior mindset. So they're okay, great. What gift are you going to give? I said, oh, let me think about it. I said, I could give them a white book about the 7 steps. I go, but how about if I create a coloring book for the kids? He said, perfect. I started doing it, and then I got requests for it for adults. I go, okay.
Adults love coloring, and adults need to color more. Like we
That's
need
right.
to embrace all those things we loved as kids. Like that creativity is something that so it's so sad that as adults we start to feel like it's less important. It's not. It's so
Right.
important to embrace that creativity that we did as kids.
And I'll give you a secret. It's okay to color outside of the lines.
Yes. And it's okay to paint if you haven't had any training, and it's okay to draw just for fun, and it's okay to have a hobby that doesn't become a side hustle.
Exactly.
It's okay to
So
just do things because you love them.
exactly right. So those are some of the things you can get when you go to connectwithmartin.com. Free stuff, buying stuff. You could click a link to make an appointment to meet with me for a half hour. We can figure some stuff out together for free, and we'll go from there.
That's awesome. I'm so excited to go check out your website. Tell us about your book. I want to hear about your book.
All right. So it's called the Warriors Life Code. 7 steps to uncover your greatness so that you can live incredibly full every day. And the word uncover is another acronym. Could you tell I like acronyms?
I love acronyms. Acronyms are great because then you have a word. It's so much easier to remember one word, especially
Right.
one word that can be like your word for the year, your word for your life, or whatever it is. I mean, life is, but like having an acronym makes it so much easier to remember all of the steps. That's the whole point of acronym.
Right. Right. So yeah. So basically it's taking my course and giving you a peek at the course in it. So that's what the cards do. So the cards is a little peek and the book is a bigger peek.
I love it. That's amazing. It's so much fun. Oh, this has been so great. So, do you have any final words of wisdom for us? Any final life lessons that you would want to share?
Okay. So because we're talking about seeking sunshine, right? Go out and make 2 people laugh today. And then thank them for giving you the opportunity to fill your mission of making someone laugh.
That's awesome. And I have to point out that like it's not just that it's incredible that you have that second step in there. because that's not something people would think about. Like you would think, oh, go make somebody happy today, and then you feel, grateful that you were able to make somebody laugh, and you feel that inside you. But when you take the time to thank them for laughing, to thank them for feeling joy, it's so unexpected, and
Exactly.
it's so amazing, because they're like, wait a minute, I just enjoyed something you said, and now you're thanking me. And that's an amazing aspect to that part of what you do. Like
Right.
including the other person and thanking them for their part in uplifting your day.
Right. Because you know what'll happen? They'll remember it for a while. It
Yeah.
won't be that one moment chuckle and then they go on. They're like, wow, that was really a lot of fun. That was nice. And maybe
Which,
they'll do it to someone else.
yeah, and then that lifts their whole day,
Yep.
and it maybe even their week, maybe even their month. Maybe this is something they remember for generations and they pass it down, like this could be like something that's incredibly impactful. And then if they share it with someone else, like it's just this incredible ripple effect of,
Right.
of sunshine, is what I'm going to call it, of gratitude, of joy, of high energy, like whatever way you want to put it. Like that's what we need more of in the world. And this is a really simple, but also unique and incredible way to bring that to more people.
Thank you.
I really love that.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been it's been amazing to hear your story and to hear how you took all the things that you've been through, and then you chose to learn from it, and you chose to grow, and then you chose to take those things and use your own growth and your own struggles to turn around and help other people.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to
Yeah,
share some fun,
absolutely.
share some laughter and my story.
Yeah, it's really, I love having people come on and share their story, because we all need to share our stories more. Like we all need to have that vulnerability more. We all need to
Yep.
connect to
It's
people.
okay to be vulnerable. We're in the 2020s now. It's okay.
Well, and it's important. It's not just okay to be
It
invulnerable.
is. It
It's
is.
like essential. Like
Yeah.
that's how
But
we
first, we
connect.
have to start by giving them permission to
Yeah,
be to be vulnerable. Because I
true.
grew up at a time where you men were not allowed to be vulnerable. We could do an entire podcast on that.
It's so true. It's so true. And it's we're as a culture, we're on a journey. We're on this journey to make things better for everybody, and that includes letting men have emotions,
That's
like
right.
and getting rid of this stigma that emotions are weakness and emotions are bad and emotions are whatever. And there's always this idea of like, she's a girl, so she's emotional, so she's unstable, and it's like that's not what that means. Actually, it's actually like not how that works. And so that's why it's been so feared for so long, because we've all grown up with this stigma of like this is bad. But actually, let's change the stigma. Let's change the way that we talk about emotions and empower ourselves and each other and our kids and the
Yep.
future generations to talk about emotions, so that we can work through them in healthy ways and not have all of these unhealthy behaviors that have been dragging our society down for so long.
Yep. I can't agree with you more.
So
Great way
I
to end.
love, yeah, I love having these conversations, because it brings all this up to the surface, so that we can all talk about it more, so that we can feel more empowered
That's
and
it.
more connected to each
Yeah,
other.
I say that thank you to Brene Brown for bringing the word vulnerability out of the closet.
Oh, yes. You said something earlier, and I was like, that's for Brene Brown. I've been reading all of her books lately, and boy, it is it's incredible how impactful it is to understand these concepts more fully, like
Hmm.
shame and vulnerability. And the more that we talk about shame, the less power that it has.
Hmm. Yep.
So, plug for Brene Brown. She's awesome. And thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on and sharing all this with us. I hope that everyone buys your book and goes and buys your cards, because those are so amazing. Like to have on hand just as like a little reminder of like, oh yeah, where am I at?
Exactly.
How do I put myself back where I need to be so that I can feel joy and peace again? and just come back to it. we
Yep.
go through life and something happens and it's like we get out of that alignment and then it's like, okay, come back. Just come back. Come back without judgment. Come back to the right place. So I love that because it's really a useful tool and it's a very simple reminder.
Thank you.
Right for ourselves.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. I will send everyone to your website and put that in the show notes. And I hope that you have an absolutely incredible day.
Thank you. You too. I hope you live incredibly full every day.
Thank you. I will do my best, and I'm sure the rest of us will too. I hope you find some sunshine today. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What an amazing episode. I learned so much from Martin and I loved hearing his story and everything he's been through. He has come so far and taught us so much. So here are my very favorite takeaways. Number 1, we can actually do good things in our lives before we have fully healed and fixed our motivations, but it's so much more satisfying and fulfilling in your life to do those things from the right place. Number 2, you have to have the darkness in order to see the light. You have to have the contrast. Number 3, it turns out that other people's opinions are not our responsibility. Other people's actions are not our responsibility. They're not thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves. Number 4, look, you don't have to live like this. You can change your emotions. You can change your mind. You don't have to live in fear. Number 5, how about instead of saying I can't, you say, how can I? Or how can I make this work for me? It's all about how you see it. Number 6, the world is as you see it. And number 7, I'll tell you a secret. It's okay to color outside the lines. It's okay to paint if you haven't had any training. And it's okay to draw just for fun. And it's okay to have a hobby that doesn't become a side hustle. It's okay to do things just because you love them. Oh my goodness. Bam. That one knocks my socks off. I love it so much. Do things just because you love them. You don't need an ulterior motive. You don't need some special reason. Just do things because you love them. Yes. Make sure you go connect with Martin at literally his website is connectwithmartin.com. Go get his deck of cards. Go check out his freebies. Go buy his book. Go do all of the things because he has so much amazingness to offer. Oh, and don't forget that he offered a free coaching session, like a little mini coaching session. Go take advantage of that because he's incredible and he's the person to get to know and to connect with and to stay in contact with. Definitely go follow him on all the social media sites. Connect with him. Stay in contact. He's so cool. Make sure you check out my website, which is KaraleigHgarrison.com, and follow the Seeking Sunshine Facebook page. I'd really appreciate that. You can also find me on social media at Karaleigh Garrison is on Facebook or Karaleigh.Garrison on Instagram. And then if you are interested in a custom song, you can email me at customsongsbykaraleigh@gmail.com. So I hope that you have an amazing summer and an incredible rest of your day. And don't forget to seek sunshine everywhere you go. No matter what is happening in your life or in your day, there's always something beautiful happening. There's always sunshine somewhere. There's always beauty somewhere. So keep your eye out because it's there. Sometimes you have to dig around to find it. Sometimes it's buried a little bit, but I promise you that it's there. So have an amazing day, and I'm gonna leave you with a song. I heard it would be worth it, but still I hesitate. So many just enjoy the ride, but that's not how I feel inside. Up, down, just wanna touch the ground. Up, down, safe or sound. Going against gravity. Is this how life is supposed to be? I've got to learn how to let go, but I cannot help but fight for control on this roller coaster. This roller coaster. Forcefully it's pulling, constraining violently. So long I felt the pain, wondered if I'm going insane. These bars feel like a cage, but perhaps they keep me safe. For freedom I call and come, but with it I would fight. Up, down, just wanna touch the ground. Up, down, I don't feel safe or sound. Going against gravity. Is this how life is supposed to be? I've got to learn how to let go, but I cannot help but fight for control on this roller coaster. This roller coaster. There's pain pressing on my chest.